We'll have information about how farming works in extreme drought coming up later.
Spring showers on the Eastern Plains. Find out more on my first weather forecast.
Xterra is hosting its World Championship in Ruidoso from 2026 to 2028. More about this and other news now.
This is News 3 New Mexico, your local source for news, sports, and first weather.
Good evening and welcome to News 3 New Mexico. I'm Corbin Shaner.
And I'm Marcos Baltieres. Thank you so much for watching. Yet another shooting has taken place in Clovis over the weekend. The Clovis Police Department received a 911 call from 2518 East 14th Street regarding a person injured from a gunshot wound to the leg. When officers arrived on the scene, they found Tristan Lucero suffering from a gunshot wound to the abdomen, which appeared to be from a shotgun. Clovis Fire Department responded and took care of the victim, who was transported to the Plains Regional Medical Center and later transferred to a Texas hospital for treatment. Officers contacted two occupants of the residency, who reported that the victim tried to enter the residence and the occupants shot him with the gun.
A former Republican candidate for the state legislature was found guilty on federal charges last week. Solomon Pena was accused of orchestrating drive-by shootings at the homes of his Democratic officials, which took place in early December 2022 and early January 2023, weeks after he lost his bid for a seat in the House. While none was injured in the attacks, authorities mentioned how bullets entered the bedroom of his state senator's 10-year-old daughter. The jury deliberated for 5 hours before finding Mr. Pena guilty on 13 charges, including conspiracy, weapons-related charges, and interference with federally protected activities.
An aircraft crash in Lea County occurred yesterday. A privately owned helicopter crashed at the Lee County Regional Airport on the ramp area near the hangars. Lee County reported no injuries. That the incident did not impact any runways or flights. They also note that the aircraft involved was not a medevac. We're thankful that no one was hurt. 2 Alamogordo residents were arrested last week following a drug trafficking investigation that led to the seizure of nearly 500 fentanyl pills, multiple firearms, and cash, according to the authorities. The White Mountain Drug Task Force, in coordination with the Alamogordo Police Department, executed a narcotics search warrant during a traffic stop near North Florida Avenue and Fairgrounds. On the evening of March 19th, during the search, officers discovered 491 fentanyl pills, 4 firearms, and an undisclosed amount of cash. As a result, 64-year-old Craig Donaldson was taken into custody and charged with driving under the influence, trafficking a controlled substance, and conspiracy to traffic a controlled substance. Additionally, 63-year-old Paula Gordon was arrested and charged with trafficking a controlled substance and conspiracy to traffic a controlled substance. Both suspects were booked into the Otero County Detention Center, where they await their court appearances.
Portales will soon have a new city manager. In a letter addressed to the mayor and city council members of Portales, yesterday the current city manager, Chris Mitchell, announced his resignation effective May 23, 2025. He states that during his time in the position, he's collaborated on initiatives improving city infrastructure, economic development, and well-being in Portales. Mr. Mitchell does not list a reason as to why he is resigning, but does mention how he will work closely with the city council and city staff members during the remainder of his time to make the transition as smooth as possible. You know, I'm loving the warm weather we're having this week.
Yeah, there's possible some spring showers tonight here on the Eastern Plains.
Well, I might have to bust out my umbrella.
Well, it's better than that high wind we had a couple weeks ago.
Let's take a look at our radar right now here on the Eastern Plains. We are seeing some cells north of Roswell moving a little bit north up towards Portales. We might have some spring showers here in Portales. Up north of Clovis, there's some showers as well. With spring showers also come spring allergies. As we look at our allergy report, grass at low, pollen at medium, ragweed at low. As we take a look at our tonight's lows, 42 in Farmington, 50 in Albuquerque, 53 in Socorro, 45 in Ruidoso, 57 in Roswell, up in Raton, 39 here on the Eastern Plains, 50, 49 on Clovis, 52 in Amarillo, 56 in Lubbock. I have more on my full weather forecast. Back to you, Marcos.
Thank you, Jaden. Curry County has announced a new contest specifically for high school students. This unique opportunity will allow local high school students to showcase their creativity and have their artwork display on a billboard in Curry County. Students are invited to submit their sketch, drawing, or paintings that represent their vision for the community. The winning design will proudly be displayed on a billboard within the county, offering the artists a chance to see their work showcased to a wide audience. The contest is open to all high school students in Curry County, grades 9 through 12. Students may submit their artwork in person at 417 Giddings Street, Suite 100, or send it to an email to kbeza@currycountynm.gov. The deadline to submit information is coming soon on April 11, 2025. For any more information or questions, please contact Karina Beza at 575-763-6016.
A long-running tradition continued in Floyd, New Mexico over the weekend as the Floyd Lions Club Country Jamboree took place once again. The event, which first started in 1950, has been a mainstay in the community for over 7 decades. This year's Jamboree was held on Friday and Saturday at the Floyd School, featuring live country music performances. Will Bannister and friends took the stage on Friday night, while Saturday's lineup included the traditional Country Jamboree show. The event, organized by the Floyd Lions Club, serves as a fundraiser for the local community. Crowds gathered both nights to take part in the long-standing tradition, enjoying classic country music in the heart of eastern New Mexico.
Oasis State Park is hosting an Eastwood Memorial Fishing Derby this weekend. The event is dedicated to Johnny Eastwood, who is the founder for Oasis State Park. The derby will take place at Oasis State Park from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Some prizes include 3 $100 tagged fish, 4 $50 tags, 12 $25 tags, and 20 $10 tags. Participants must be at least 12 years older to enter and have a valid fishing license. There is a $5 fee to register for the event, and the event will open at 8 a.m. Saturday morning.
The Gender Sexuality Alliance of Eastern New Mexico is hosting their biannual drag show this Friday. Starting at 7 p.m., you can see their members show off their skills in the event Draglust, with the theme of musical theater. It's a free event and will be in the Greyhound Lounge, which is located in the lower level of Campus Union Building on ENW-Portales campus. Only those 18 years of age or older are allowed to attend, and IDs will be checked at the door.
Something exciting is coming to Rio Doso next year. Rio Doso and Xterra are thrilled to announce that Xterra World Championship returning to its continental roots, selecting Rio Doso, New Mexico as the host for its 2026 through 2028 World Championship. The Xterra World Championship is the pinnacle of the off-road triathlon, featuring a swim, mountain bike, and trail run designed to push the limits of seasoned athletes. It returns to the U.S. soil for the first time since 2021. In addition to the full-distance World Championship race, Rio Doso will host the Xterra Youth World Championship. Xterra will host a private weekend later this year, August 15th through the 17th, with both a full sprint distance triathlon, a 10K trial run, and a kids sprint. The ENMU Department of Music will present their opera Le Esler de Amore, otherwise known as The Elixir of Love. The opera is one of the most famous and often performed operas in the world, and for a good reason. The music is catchy, virtuous, and the story is funny, relatable, and heartwarming. It tells the story of a poor young man who is deeply in love with a wealthy woman and buys a supposed love potion from a traveling quack doctor to win her affection, only to realize the potion is fake. There will be 2 performances, Friday, March 28th, and Saturday, March 29th, both at 7 p.m. General admissions tickets are $7 and can be purchased at the door or can be purchased at enmu.edu/Opera Live.
Coming up after the break, Jaden will have his full weather report for you.
But first, here's a look at today's financial market.
Welcome back to News 3 New Mexico. I'm Jaden Phillips, and I'm here to take you through the weather. As we look on the west coast of the U.S., we are seeing a front of rain coming from Portland that stretches down to San Francisco. And then here in the Midwest, we are seeing some rain up in Minneapolis. And then down south in the Houston area, a big cell that basically ranges across to the whole southern part of Texas. And then in the Northeast, we are seeing some snow in New York and a little bit of rain up in Toronto. But as we take a look here in New Mexico, we are seeing quite a bit of rain across the state, especially north of Albuquerque, moving up to Colorado, and then down south around El Paso, moving north. Here on the eastern plains, we are seeing some showers scattering around Portales and a little bit east of Roswell, moving through the evening. As we take a look at our current temps, we're at 75 in Farmington, 69 in Gallup, 79 in Albuquerque, 83 in Socorro, TRC's at 78. Down south, you're ranging between 80s and 70s. As we take a look up north, 70 in Raton, Clayton at 74, Tucumcari at 80. As we take a look here on the eastern plains, we're seeing here in Portales, 77, Clovis 76, Lubbock at 83, Hobbs at 79, Roswell at 83, and Rio Doso at 68. As we take a look at our current wind speeds, we're looking at 9 miles per hour up in Farmington, 13 miles per hour in Albuquerque, Santa Rosa at 16, here in Portales 18. Down south, you're ranging between 9 to 14 miles per hour across most of the southern part. Lubbock at 18 and Amarillo at 19. As we look at tonight's lows, we are seeing 41 in Farmington, 35 in Gallup. Albuquerque is at 49. TRC also at 49. Down south, again, looking around 40s to 50s. Here on the eastern plains, we are looking at 48 here in Portales, 46 in Clovis, Tucumcari at 50, also 50 in Amarillo. Down in Lubbock, 52. As we look at tomorrow's highs, we're looking at 77 in Farmington, 78 in Albuquerque. Up north, we're looking at 76 in Raton, 78 in Clayton, Tucumcari at 80. Down south in Alamogordo, 80. Las Cruces also at 80. Hobbs at 73. And here on the eastern plains, we're looking at 77 here in Portales, Lubbock at 78, Amarillo up at 80, Clovis at 76. As we take a look at our 7-day forecast, in Roswell, we are looking at 70s for Thursday with a 15% chance of precipitation with mostly clouds. And throughout the weekend, 80s, and then spring weather come next week to 79 to 78. As we look into Carlsbad, we're seeing partly cloudy with 74. And then Saturday will be windy with a high of 82. Sunday also at 82 with partly cloudy. And then 80s throughout the week. And then Tuesday with some wind. As we take a look here in Portales for our 7-day forecast, 77 as a high Thursday, 84 as a high on Friday, Saturday and Sunday 70s. And next week will be 75 on Monday, windy on Tuesday with a high of 84, and Wednesday 75.
Well, it sounds like we got some warm weather coming our way.
Yes, finally spring is starting to hit here on the eastern plains.
I can finally bust out the shorts, you know?
Yep. We'll be right back after the break with more news for you.
Welcome back to News 3 New Mexico. Have you been looking for a way to support military veterans and the students of ENMU? Well, lucky for you, the Theta Zeta chapter of Kappa Sigma and on ENMU is hosting their annual Cow Drop fundraiser. It's a raffle-style fundraiser where you have a chance to win one $1,000 and 8 chances to win one $100. Each ticket is $5, and a portion of the proceeds go to Military Heroes campaign, as well as the ENMU Scholarship Foundation. To purchase a ticket, you can find one of the active brothers, or you can go online to cowdrop.org.
Farming and ranching has been a big part of eastern New Mexico through multiple generations.
And while some people are expecting a record high rainfall this year, others are skeptical of this.
For those interested on how farming works when in an extreme drought, our friends over at Rocky Mountain PBS showed us exactly how it works.
I know, you guys are hungry. You guys are hungry. If we could have afforded less acres, but irrigation, or live in an area that gets more rain, less drought conditions, obviously we would have chose that. Most day it is bone dry, and you're really watching the weather, hoping you're going to get some rain.
This is only the second snow that we've gotten. With the wind, it just blows all of the snow that we do get away or dries things out super fast. So even the moisture that we do get doesn't really soak into the ground. We raise animals that are pastured, and right now our pastures are terrible because we can't get any moisture. The alfalfa is really the primary source of grass that they get right now.
When we first started doing this, I mean, the price of hay for just a standard little square bale was like $6, $7. It's $12 now. We just don't want to overgraze until we can get the natural grasses coming back, hopefully on a regular basis with just Mother Nature's assistance.
Northern Larimer County, Northern Weld County. On the U.S. Drought Monitor, they currently show up in D3, which is the extreme drought category. That is something that is supposed to happen only like 1 out of 20 years. So maybe not the absolute worst that you've ever seen, but still quite bad. Even the biggest rain event maybe lasts a few days, but then it's over, right? Drought is a lot more insidious. It gets going and you really never quite know when it's going to end.
Not too frozen today, so it's not as thick, but as you can see, in order for them to drink, I've got to break up the ice. So all of that layer just went to waste.
There's just so many unknowns and things you can't plan for. You know, my grandparents had a farm out in Weld County, and their well dried up and they had to redig another well, and you know, that's an option for a while. But what if it gets to the point where we can't redig wells? What if the water levels are so low that we don't have any water, period? That's scary. We're in this full time, and sometimes we wonder why we do it and whether we should quit between not having any time, being so tired, and the expense of it all. But it brings a lot of satisfaction to know that we're raising healthy food and healthy animals and happy animals and providing for our community as well as our family.
Water concerns play a part, even here in eastern New Mexico.
The Ugalala aquifer is starting to get to lower and lower levels each year.
Although most officials agree that something needs to be done, they can't quite agree what needs to happen. Coming up after the break, Lorenzo will have his full sports report.
A recap of the MLB spring training and a look at the first game tomorrow, so stay tuned.
Welcome back, sports fans, to News 3 New Mexico. My name is Lorenzo Solis, and let's take a dive into today's report. Running up on the first report is the MLB spring training, and it ended yesterday and came to a close with only 7 games to round out the season's training period. Now that the training wheels for the season are off, the next round of games kicks off the normal season and the roster is packed. Just to name a few of the matchups for tomorrow, the Yankees take on the Brewers, the Red Sox take on the Rangers, the Giants take on the Reds, Mets take on the Astros, and many more games to follow. We'll have the result of tomorrow's games next week, so keep an eye out. Taking us on to second plate is softball, and the ENMU Ladyhounds have made a solid comeback from last week's losing streak. Since their last matchup against Angeles State, the Ladyhounds softball team have won 4 games in a row. They swept both doubleheaders against Sul Ross State and UT Permian Basin. This winning streak is coming fresh off the heels of a 4-game losing streak I reported on last week. And despite that, Ladyhounds still hold a solid season of 20 wins and 14 losses. With all this in mind, their next matchup is a doubleheader against West Texas A&M, who is currently ranked 3rd in the country. Can the Ladyhounds come out of this matchup with a win? I'll have the report next week. Speaking of winning streaks, next on the third plate is ENMU Baseball. The Greyhound baseball team is on a great winning streak after a series of 4 games against Sul Ross State. While it wasn't a sweep, the scores were gapped, with the closest games being 17 and 12. The season is looking to be a solid one with 18 wins to 12 losses, as the next 4-game matchup against Oklahoma Christian is only 2 days away. That leaves the Hounds with 4 more series games in the season. That's all the sports I have you. But wait, don't change that channel. We'll be right back with Corbin and Marcos right after the break.
Welcome back. A one-legged robot is getting a leg up on the competition.
Taking inspiration from rascally rodents to pull off some high-flying feats, Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Take a look at a quirky one-legged robot engineered to stick a landing on a branch just like a leaping squirrel. Biology and engineering students at UC Berkeley first studied the jumping and landing patterns of squirrels, which they say apply natural braking maneuvers to stop on their intended targets so deftly. They then designed Salto, their own bouncing bot, to use a springy step and balancing flywheel to leap, land, and level itself in a single bound, just like its nutty counterpart. The high-flying feat was chronicled in the journal Science Robotics, and the university says it's a big step towards bigger possibilities, like using the leaping bots in construction, environmental applications, and maybe even space exploration. Now, if they could only design a robot to prevent leaping squirrels from stealing food from my bird feeder. This is Pickles. He's a real jerk. Paleontologists have made a fascinating breakthrough in Asia, unearthing the largest fully preserved dinosaur claw of its kind in Mongolia. This unique 2-clawed hand, experts say, belonged to a previously unknown species of dinosaur they are calling, this. Believed to be part of the same dino family that includes the T-Rex. Some researchers are likening the lengthy claws to tongs used in barbecuing. Others are comparing the new species to Edward Scissorhands. I say, hey, why can't it be both? Finally, speaking of fingers, one belonging to an expert freediver is now adorned with an engagement ring following an amazing underwater proposal in the Galapagos Islands. Videographer and wildlife expert Carlos Luna presented his partner, diver Nusi Horvath, with the ring in an unforgettable moment they say was filled with love, emotion, and of course, plenty of safety precautions. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, that robot was impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, that squirrel named Pickles, he's my favorite.
Well, that's the news we have for y'all tonight.
And we hope to see you next week.